Good evening. On tonight's episode, the Tsuranga Conundrum. Sorry for my dyslexia. I am a product of the Australian education system. So as a preface, I'd like to say that I watched this episode and thoroughly enjoyed it. Then I did a silly thing. I watched a few reviews, and some of them gave this story a really negative response. They obviously did not have the same viewing experience as me whatsoever. So what this review will be is my opinions, and also somewhat of an attempt to understand why a lot of people didn't like this story. I think the sonic mine at the beginning of this episode is a good plot device. It throws a shroud of mystery over both the characters and the audience.
I can't find their med tags. That's how rubbish I am at this. You'd think it would be simple enough.
Natalie, stop beating yourself up. I'm sure there's a simple explanation.
The Doctor is injured in the first act of this story. She's dazed and confused. She doesn't know where she is or really what's going on. I like this vulnerability. Too often in the Moffat era, the Doctor was presented as an all-knowing badass who's super powerful and was always on top of the situation at hand.
Need to get back to our ship. Oh, come on, you lot.
Hey, come back.
Which way is out?
Can you return to the assessment zone, please? We're not discharging you. You need to rest.
Chibnall then spends some time setting up several side characters. We get insights into their situation and temperament. This will help us relate to them later on as the tension rises. There was a lot of criticism in these reviews that I watched of these side characters. A lot of them echoed the idea that the actors didn't do a very good job of portraying these characters, or that their characters were thinly veiled and not very easily to relate to. I think Chibnall did a fine job with the amount of time he had. At least he went to an effort to set up these side characters. It wasn't like Rogue One, for example.
This is my brother Durkas and my consort Ronan.
When she says consort, she really means clone drone. Android, you can tell by the hair.
Durkas.
It is revealed that the Doctor and her companions are actually on a spaceship, 4 days travel from the TARDIS. It's at this point that the Doctor overreacts and panics. She goes through all these actions which almost endanger all of the patients on the ship, just so she can get back to the TARDIS. I like the fact that she was wrong. Flawed characters create more drama, and they're far easier to relate to.
There are patients on board who need to get to Wizards 1 as a matter of urgency. My job is to keep all of you safe. You're stopping me from doing that.
It sounds like the Doctor, not the Doctor, the medical doctor guy. It sounds like he says, take a condom in this scene? I don't know what the Doctor and the other Doctor will be doing in this sequence that they'll need a condom for, but okay.
Take a condom. Take a condom. Take a condom.
A threat infiltrates the ship and Astos, the medical doctor guy, is killed. I think this is a nice way to set the stakes. Characters could die in this story. Well, not our main characters, but some of these side characters might die in this story. His final words to his friend, however, were cliched and cringy. I believe in you. I've always believed in you.
You can do this, Matley. You're good enough. You have to believe in yourself. I believe in you. I always have.
So I have to admit that I did laugh when the antagonist was revealed. I still like this creature. I think it functions. I think it holds tension and is cute. The gremlin balance, it works.
Where's Astos? For my sake!
What is that?
Doctor Who has also rarely been completely serious tonally. It's always had funny moments and silly antagonists. So I like this creature. The lighting in this story is nice. It starts to darken and flicker as the tension rises. But this isn't just a stylistic choice. it also works for the narrative, because as the ship is becoming more damaged, the lighting systems are turning on and off.
Still hurting. Yes. Maybe.
Once the threat is established, the show also transitions from nice, smooth, flat angles, panning backwards with our characters in frame, to lower angle shots, Dutch angles, and more shaking panning techniques. This is very basic filmmaking, but at least it shows that the director knows how to create tension through angles and camera movements. So the creature is called a pating. To me, this sounds like somebody spitting chewing tobacco into a pot. Pating!
Item 7 Alpha Cubed. Pating.
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 Pating! I feel like this story should have showed the pating being more threatening. We were told through exposition how dangerous it was, but we didn't really see that on camera. For example, we were told that the pating had toxic skin, but we never saw this realized in a shot. It would have been nice to actually see this happen at some point in the story.
Pating skin is understood to be toxic to most life forms. Never touch a pating directly. Pating should never be restricted to a confined space.
So there's a male alien in this story who's pregnant, and some of the criticisms I heard said that this was either silly or a political attempt to reaffirm gender neutrality. What I think is that it was a plot device to trigger an emotional response in Ryan. We got some more information about his mother dying and his father abandoning him, and I think that all the stuff around Ryan, i.e. the acting and the writing, was very well executed.
Do you mind me asking? How did your mum die?
So I've mentioned in a lot of my previous Star Trek reviews that I think those stories could have used a ticking clock element in the story to push the narrative forward and create tension. Now, Chibnall obviously likes this writing technique. He used it in The Ghost Monument, it was in Rosa, and it's also in this story. This is effective storytelling, but you can't overuse it or it will become played out. I think we need some more diverse script ideas in the next few stories, otherwise it might create audience fatigue for me.
You're interfering with the bomb?
Yes.
Is it going to detonate?
Yes.
I think the sets in this story are very 60s sci-fi. Maybe they could have used an engine room covered in grit and grime with an industrial aesthetic to mix it up a bit, but I'm always down for a callback to classic sci-fi sets.
Oh, that bit really hurts. Where's the exit? Why are there no signs for the exit?
This transition shot from a reflection to our heroes is a nice way of setting up an off, suspenseful feeling, and it also looks nice.
Where do you think it is right now? I don't know.
Look at this! Techno-babble about an antimatter device. This story isn't just set in space, it's actual science fiction. I love it, conceptually and actually.
The thing with antimatter is you either have to find it or generate it. That's what this bit does. Particle accelerator. Like at CERN. We did that in physics.
Does Yaz wrapping the main antagonist in a blanket and drop kicking it dissolve all of the tension? Not quite, but I think if they had have cut in a silly sound effect when she kicked it, that it would have. I was waiting for the android to have a fight scene with the pating this entire story. It would have been amazing to see the little creature ripping this robot apart as he tried to grapple with that little beast.
No. General, my responsibility is...
Ronan, you're able to touch it without detoxifying you. That's useful to all of us, including me.
I think it was definitely a missed opportunity not to have the Pating directly threatening the birthing sequence. That would have been an amazing escalating situation. Maybe too dark? I don't think so though. I think a monster threatening a baby is fine.
I'm not ready.
Look at him, he's so cute. I mean, maybe he is a Stitch rip-off, but his appearance and his size, it was a subversion of what I expected, and I still think it works. I still think he's threatening. Look at him.
I'm not bad. Admit it. I'm not bad at all in the timing. When you ready, mate?
Chibnall uses the Pating problem to dissolve the bomb problem. It was clever how both of the ticking clock elements were resolved with one event. It was also a nice, the Doctor saving the day moment for Jodie Whittaker.
Eat it. Wait for it.
I like how this story wasn't completely resolved by the end. Our team doesn't actually make it back to the TARDIS. The next story is a historical drama set in 1947's India though, so I don't know if we're gonna see them on camera get back to the ship, though I would like to see that.
1947.
We're in the middle of the partition of India.
In conclusion, this was my second favourite episode of this series after The Woman Who Fell to Earth. I can't really grapple with why people would hate it or think that it was poorly written. I thought the concept was really simple but effective. I thought the balance of threatening and silly was there with the Pating. I don't think it went too far to silly. I think the side characters were developed enough for me to be invested. Ryan got some really nice character development, and the cinematography and lighting was right up my alley. Thank you for watching. Really help out if you like, subscribe, and in the comments, if you didn't like this episode, try to explain it to me. Because I'd like to understand, I don't. I think the story was really good. Or, I really enjoyed it. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. It was really fun. It was a really fun story. Good night.